Welcome back to the studio, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a stunning stone 3D art piece that looks professional, textured, and incredibly realistic, even if you are a beginner. If you love sculpture, wall decor, mixed media artwork, or handmade crafts that bring depth and character to a space, this project is perfect for you. Before we begin, make sure your workspace is clean and protected because creating stone effect art can be a little messy, but the results are absolutely worth it. The beauty of stone 3D art is that it combines the elegance of sculpture with the creativity of painting, allowing you to transform simple materials into a piece that appears carved from natural rock. As I start this project, I first prepare a sturdy base because a strong foundation is essential for any three-dimensional artwork. The base can be a wooden board, a canvas panel, or another rigid surface that can support texture and weight. Once the surface is ready, I begin planning the design. This is an important stage because every successful artwork starts with a clear vision. I lightly sketch the main composition, thinking about how the shapes will rise from the surface and how light and shadow will interact with the finished piece. When creating stone-inspired art, I like to focus on organic forms, flowing patterns, abstract landscapes, mountain textures, floral motifs, or architectural designs, because these subjects naturally complement the appearance of stone. After the sketch is complete, I begin building the structure. This is where the artwork starts coming to life. Using a modeling material or texture medium, I gradually apply layers to create depth. Rather than covering the entire surface at once, I work slowly, building height in selected areas to establish a sense of movement and dimension. The key to convincing 3D art is variation. Some areas should be raised dramatically while others remain subtle and smooth. This contrast creates visual interest and helps the finished piece look more realistic. As I sculpt the surface, I use simple tools to carve lines, shape edges, and add natural imperfections. Real stone is never perfectly smooth, and those tiny irregularities are what make the artwork feel authentic. I press, scrape, smooth, and shape the material until the design begins to emerge from the background. At this stage, patience is essential. Rushing can flatten details or create unwanted marks, so I take my time refining every section. As the texture develops, I constantly step back to view the artwork from different angles. This helps me evaluate balance, depth, and overall composition. One of the secrets of professional stone art is understanding how shadows contribute to the final effect. Deep grooves and elevated sections create dramatic contrasts when illuminated, making the piece appear much more sculptural than it actually is. Once the main structure is complete, I focus on adding secondary textures. This is where the stone illusion becomes truly convincing. I create rough surfaces, subtle cracks, weathered edges, and natural-looking patterns that mimic the character of real rock formations. These details may seem small, but together they add richness and realism to the artwork. Every mark contributes to the story of the piece, giving it the appearance of age, strength, and permanence. After all the sculptural work is finished, the artwork needs sufficient time to dry completely. This stage should never be skipped because painting over damp material can lead to cracking or uneven finishes. While waiting for the surface to dry, I think about the final color palette. Stone art can be inspired by many different natural materials, including limestone, marble, sandstone, granite, slate, or weathered concrete. Each type of stone has its own personality, and choosing the right color scheme can dramatically influence the mood of the artwork. Once the surface is fully dry, I begin the painting process. The first layer is usually a solid base coat that unifies the entire piece and prepares it for additional color variations. I apply the paint evenly, making sure it reaches every textured area. As the base color dries, the artwork already starts to resemble carved stone, but the real transformation happens in the next stages. To create depth and realism, I gradually build layers of color using techniques that emphasize highlights and shadows. Darker tones are worked into recesses and textured areas, while lighter tones are gently brushed across raised surfaces. This technique instantly reveals the sculptural details and gives the artwork a more natural appearance. One of my favorite moments in the entire process is watching the texture emerge as light colors catch the highest points of the design. Suddenly, every ridge, crack, and contour becomes visible. The piece begins to look less like painted material and more like genuine stone. I continue layering colors until I achieve the desired balance of contrast and harmony. Sometimes I add subtle warm tones to create an earthy feel, while other projects benefit from cooler shades that resemble contemporary architectural stone. The goal is to create complexity without overwhelming the texture. Real stone contains countless variations, and introducing gentle shifts in tone helps replicate that natural beauty. As I work, I remain mindful of the direction of light. Highlight placement should be consistent throughout the piece because this strengthens the illusion of depth and realism. When the main painting is complete, I move on to the finishing details. This stage allows me to enhance specific areas and add artistic refinement. I may brighten selected highlights, deepen certain shadows, or introduce subtle accents that draw attention to focal points. These adjustments might seem minor, but they can significantly improve the overall impact of the artwork. Professional artists understand that great results often come from careful refinement rather than dramatic changes. After the finishing touches are complete, I evaluate the artwork as a whole. I examine the composition, texture, balance, and visual flow, making sure every element works together harmoniously. This is also the perfect time to make any final corrections. Once I am satisfied, I apply a protective finish. Depending on the desired look, the finish can be matte, satin, or slightly glossy. A matte finish is often ideal for stone-inspired art because it preserves the natural appearance of the texture and prevents excessive reflections. The protective coating not only enhances durability, but also enriches the visual depth of the artwork, helping colors appear more unified and professional. As the final layer dries, the transformation is complete. What began as a simple surface has become a striking three-dimensional artwork with the appearance of sculpted stone. The finished piece captures light beautifully, creating changing shadows throughout the day and giving the artwork a dynamic presence within any room. One of the reasons I love creating stone 3D art is that it bridges the gap between traditional sculpture and modern wall decor. It offers texture, dimension, and artistic expression while remaining accessible to artists of all skill levels. Whether displayed in a home, office, gallery, or studio, stone-inspired artwork has a timeless quality that immediately attracts attention. Every texture tells a story, every shadow adds character, and every highlight reveals the craftsmanship behind the piece. If you are creating your own version, remember that perfection is not the goal. The beauty of stone lies in its natural imperfections, and embracing those irregularities will make your artwork feel more authentic and unique. Allow yourself to experiment with shapes, textures, and finishes. Trust your creative instincts and enjoy the process of transforming simple materials into something extraordinary. Art is not just about the final result. It is about the experience of creating, learning, and expressing your vision. As you continue practicing, you will develop your own techniques and discover new ways to achieve stunning stone effects. The more you explore texture and dimension, the more confident you will become in your artistic abilities. Thank you for joining me in the studio today and following along with this stone 3D art project. I hope this tutorial inspires you to create your own textured masterpiece and explore the endless possibilities of sculptural wall art. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to support the channel, share your creations, and continue experimenting with new artistic ideas. Keep creating, keep learning, and most importantly, keep turning imagination into art. I'll see you in the next creative project.